Okay. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to Lot C2, Episode 3. On this episode, we're going to be discussing our opinions on cars that we dislike from an enthusiast standpoint, which are our opinions, not fact under any circumstance.
These cars may all be fine from a daily driver perspective, a consumer perspective, but from our opinions, the opinions of two enthusiasts who can be quite opinionated from time to time.
Yes.
We're also in the same room right now. We're going to try doing it this way, having one microphone, and see how that works, and maybe it'll lend to the chemistry of the podcast a bit.
Yeah, I think it'll improve things a bit, and it'll make editing a breeze.
We're also going to try to keep this one an hour or less because we appreciate all your attention spans that have listened to the first two podcasts, but we recognize that an hour and a half might be a bit too long for some people.
Right, and as always, be sure to give us feedback on the format of the podcast, what you think we could add, change, or anything like that. But to start off...
updates on personal cars.
I got new tires, most expensive set of tires I've ever bought in my life. Almost $1,300 redues. Got some Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, and holy balls do they grip. My car, when I bought it, it's 2007, only has 13,000 miles on it. It had the stock tires on it, and 15-year-old tires, which was kind of sketchy. I could lay down a patch wherever I went, first and second, which was kind of fun. But I was a little bit scared to take the car up to speed. You know, on a close course, of course, I had it up over 100 a few times. If someone lines up next to me, I'm not gonna not do anything. But yeah, I got new tires, and it's made such a huge difference. I can't believe how much of a difference it made.
Well, we were out yesterday doing the speed limit, and I felt like zero wheel spin whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. The only time it'll ever do that is if you're at like $3,000 in first, because that's when the blower's making the most torque, apparently, according to dynographs. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it with my car, I think. I put gas in it a few times. That's good. Generally, it's how you get from place to place. Other than that, yeah.
I just bought a retune for my car yesterday. Not going to spoil all the details because, I'm trying to be a grudge racer like Jordan and not tell people all the details. But I did get a retune through JST. I've heard from all the people on Facebook and the ST pages and on the ST forums that JST's the way to go. So I'm excited to see what the car does with this retune. I'll be running a Cobb Access port.
As you do in a Focus ST?
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited to have that too. It'd be nice to have some launch control and some flat foot shifting, things like that. So after that, I got to get my traction bar on, and I don't know. Mike, with these Pilot Sports, kind of making me think maybe I ought to get a different set of wheels for the fronts, get some Pilot Sports on there, because my car does not like to grip.
Yeah.
From a dig.
It has not learned to grip.
No.
You would say you're getting JST a tune? Just a tune?
Just a tune.
Well, yeah, I'd say, you have the traction bar, and of course, put that on first, and then just see how your grip is, and see kind of like if you have a lot more. And if you have a lot more grip, then, you don't have to get like radials, but if you're still having issues, then...
I don't think with the tires I have that they're going to grip as good as radials would. I mean, that's kind of a given.
But... Right. But you also want a street tire because especially...
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't... The Pilot Sports would be like more for,
Those are more like daily driving. I mean, they're like super high performance daily driving, whereas they last...
Oh.
Well, because Nito... I almost got Nito drag radials and I looked them up, and they have like a tread life or a light tire life like something like 5,000 miles,
Oh my god.
and that's like normal driving miles. So on any car that they're going to go on, it's probably going to be way less.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I went back to the Michelins, because it's like 10,000 mile hard driving.
Well, and that's why I got the Yokohamas that I have on my car, is because they're a quote unquote performance all season, but like, more of an all season than performance.
Right.
Still not good in the snow. Remember that day it snowed? The day my brother got in a car accident?
Yeah.
I ended up staying at my mom's that night, and I like could barely get around my subdivision on those tires. It was pretty nuts.
That's on my old GT, before I got my Nito summer tires, I ran all seasons, and I don't know, they were kind of, if you look up all seasons for any performance car, a lot of people say, well, they're not really great for super high performance, but they're not great for winter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you either get summer tires and winter tires, or don't bother.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad I went with the Blizzaks for the winter
Yeah,
time.
that's a good idea. However, people have said the Pilot Sport all seasons are fantastic tires.
That's what Alex has on his car.
Yeah, and I think Chris said the same thing. I believe he had someone.
But yeah, that's about it for the personal cars. In the news. Well,
in the news,
we just watched that video about the NASCAR dirt track racing.
Yeah, NASCAR went back to dirt for the first time in it was like stock cars. The trucks had ran on it last year apparently, which I didn't know until this morning. It's many decades. I don't know if they said like 50 years or 60 years or something, but yeah, NASCAR ran on dirt, and it was cool to see.
Interesting to see how differently these newer cars behave on dirt versus the old stock cars back in like the 60s.
Yeah, the one thing we noticed right away is the new cars were not drifting. The rear ends were not kicking out pretty much at all.
Well, they were kicking out.
Yeah, a few guys. Yeah, it seemed like a few guys were doing it, but then a few guys were not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it really seemed like you could maintain speed doing either, depending on what you wanted. But yeah, they had a dirt race at Bristol, so they just covered the track with dirt. You could tell because about halfway through the race, the asphalt started to show through the dirt, and I'm actually interested. I wonder if they had to have impacted traction and handling at some point. Like, what if you're like in the inside line, you come up onto the asphalt,
and this isn't a dedicated dirt track, so
right, the asphalt underneath.
I'm curious how they prepped it and like what the process was for getting it ready.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I know because back in the day they would wet the dirt down, so I don't know if they had like a certain amount of inches of dirt they put on and then sprayed it down, or what the process was. But in the beginning it looked like it was pretty good, but we saw by the middle of the race, the onboard footage is just dirt and dust and stuff just everywhere. It's kicking, like you can't see anything.
Well, and that's the other thing was, so the for reference, the video that we're comparing it to was someone on YouTube. It's like a NASCAR Rewind channel. They put up
like a 66.
Yeah. But the cars all had this little like shield. I don't know if it was made of mesh. Kind of looks like the stuff that Nico has on his car.
Yeah.
It's like mesh type of material,
like a chicken wire type thing.
Yeah,
in the front.
I'm assuming that's to keep the dirt out of the intake and the radiator,
right? Which
some way or another.
Yeah, which would make sense because there were reports of some of the guys in the dirt race this past weekend. They'd drop out. Some guys had drop out early on within the first few laps because they were overheating, and the cars looked unchanged. That's the thing. I'm wondering, tires. I know you can race on dirt with slicks, but I wonder. I don't know. Like, I mean, those are 700 horsepower, 900, whatever, 700 horsepower ish. 4-speed.
Well, you'd have to think for dirt racing, would the tires need to be harder, softer? I don't know. I am not a NASCAR expert.
We gotta get Nico on here.
Yeah.
Talk about his dirt racing.
I would assume the gripping would have to be oriented some
Yeah.
some sort of different way than just straight asphalt racing.
Right. Like they would have to adjust the suspension somehow. There's no way they could just go out there and run like with a Bristol setup. Because Bristol, I don't know.
It did look like that track was Jordan said $2 to do a burnout on that street in front of Stevenson.
$2? Oh, did he tag me?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's tempting. $2.
Shout out Jordan. Always down to do some hood shit.
Right. All right. I'll tell him that's tempting.
But anyway, yeah, that was cool to see. I'm not a NASCAR expert. I don't know how much you know about NASCAR, but I'm pretty novice at NASCAR.
Yeah, I don't know much. I never really watched it, especially recently. As a kid, if it was on, because it's be on Sundays, and it's nothing to do on a Sunday. You just might as well watch NASCAR. I have been getting into the Slap Shoes videos on YouTube, though, where he talks about NASCAR, pretty much their history. Like, he has different videos on, like, the 90s, the tire war, like, the worst race in NASCAR history, and like, it was something like Richard Petty's, like, last race was Jeff Gordon's first race, and it was like the final race of, like, one of the seasons where there was 5 people who could have become champion, depending on what order they finished in. And it's just, like, stuff like that.
What's that guy's YouTube name?
Slap Shoes, which with like numbers as letters, and I don't know. I could show you some.
I'll have
later.
to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's if you want to learn about NASCAR or just about like the highlights over the past 50 years, 60 years, whatever. I think that's the place to do it. He's been doing these newer videos where he'll go, because he lives in like North Carolina, whatever, where NASCAR is
NASCAR country.
Yeah, right. So there's like a bunch of old tracks that are like abandoned or like that are gone now, and he goes out to where they were and like tries to find like old like grandstands in like the woods and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's like found asphalt like just in forests where the old tracks used to be and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But
so yeah, that happened. Anything else in the news?
I'm trying to think. Anything I've seen? Oh, you'll never guess. I've had a few people on the highway pull up next to me and try to race.
So I guess we're going to get into car spots of the week now?
I think so.
All right.
You'll never guess the two. So beside that Roush Stage 1, which was closer than I would want, but it's okay. We'll get there. A BMW X whatever M.
X5M, the SUV?
Yeah, I don't remember if they were both X5Ms, but they were both BMW SUV M cars. So the people who challenged me the most have been in the M SUVs. I think they were both S5Ms. Yesterday on the way here, the guy pulled up next to me. I didn't even know it was an M. He looked like a normal blob of BMW.
It's kind of hard to tell the difference.
And he like was sitting next to me, and he kept sitting next to me. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? So I just let off the gas, and then he floored it, and I saw the M badge, and I'm like, oh, I could have taken him. I'm like, damn it. I kind of want to do that, but I'm not used to like normal cars doing that, because I've had people in like Camrys like get up next to me and they just like floor it.
That would have been me in the Saturn.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, that's a good point. We used to do that I used to do that in my 3-valve, revving at like a $200,000 Lamborghini. Like,
have zero chance of taking it at all.
I just want to hear it. I just want to see the thing take off down the highway. That's all I'm doing. And I guess now I'm on the other side of that, which is weird for the first time in my life. But yeah, I haven't been out much, honestly.
We saw that STI yesterday.
Yeah, or at least I had an STI wing.
Which very well could have just been a WRX, but...
Around here, yeah. You never know.
That's a good pet peeve for the pet peeve show.
Yeah.
Or people putting like, nope, can't spoil it.
No spoilage. I don't think I really spotted anything in particular.
So we went to the city on Wednesday, I think. me and Sam's family. And I'm trying to recall what we saw. I know we saw a newer M3 in the city. Things sounded pretty good.
Oh, like pre-Giant Grill? Or
Yeah, pre-Giant Grill.
Actually, yeah, those are kind of nice. I do like those.
When we went to the Lincoln Park Zoo, when we were there, I heard a Subaru in the distance, and it was funny because I was with her family, and I'm just like, "That's a Subaru," and you hear it like,
right.
You know.
Do they make fun of you when you can like?
Was that a good Subaru impression, guys? Leave it in the comments.
Leave your best Subaru impressions as video replies. Remember when video replies were a thing on YouTube? Way back. Do they make fun of you when you like? Oh, that's a whatever. They laugh when you can like call out a car from a distance.
No, but I remember one time. This was years ago. I remember one time. We were going to I think it was my grandparents' anniversary dinner. And I was with my mom and my brothers, and it was a particularly nice day, and there were so many cool cars out. So I'd be like, oh, that's a sick STI. That's a sick SRT 392. And I kept like saying it over and over again every time we passed a cool car.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, could you stop doing that? No one knows what you're talking about except you.
You're like, well, that's the joy. I'm happy for me. Just because you don't know what a BMW 335i xDrive IS is doesn't mean I'm not excited. Whatever. Yeah, my favorite is, especially now with the Coyote, you can tell the Ford, Dodge, and the Chevys apart because they all have their distinct sounds. The Coyotes you can tell from miles away when you hear a Coyote. They just sound so different. Anything else you've seen recently?
I don't think so. We saw
that
some guy being a jackass on the highway. I feel like he was in a Mopar. I can't remember if he was in a Scat Pack or something. That was on the way to the city.
They'd be like that.
I think I saw an X5M on the way home from the city too. It was blue, if I recall correctly. I'm sure there were others, but I kind of fell asleep for parts of the drive, so I might have missed some stuff.
That's interesting. Yeah, I used to be able to do that as a kid, but I can't really fall asleep. Like for work when we're driving across like states and stuff, it's like I can't fall asleep.
See, I almost have to do it now because like I don't know if it's just because I am so used to driving like me being the driver everywhere. I've started getting like car sick if I'm a passenger, which used to happen to me when I was a little kid. But like now, if someone else is driving, it's like I start getting like car sick.
Right. I've never had that issue. I've never had like seasickness issues or any of that. I don't know.
I mean, like short distances, I'm fine. Like when you were driving yesterday.
Yeah.
But like long distances, I have real trouble with it sometimes.
But if you're driving, you're fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot why that is.
Well, I think when you're the one driving, you're more focused on you're engaged. One thing. Yeah. Whereas if you're a passenger, you're just like looking around at everything. I don't know.
Thinking about blown chunks.
Yeah. Exactly. Now that you have that image in mind, I think it is time to get on to our main topic here. Because I think that wraps up the points, or the spots of the week.
Liquid Campbell's Chunky Noodle Chunks.
Thank you for that visual, Mike. All right, so topic this week. Now again, boys and girls, this is just our opinion. I'm sure some of you will disagree with these. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say I know some of you will disagree with these.
And if you disagree, leave a comment below.
Tell us why you disagree.
All right, to start off, I think a car that we have, from a car enthusiast standpoint, the Scion TC.
Now, if you know me, it is well known that has been my least favorite car for many a year. And it's not because of its, daily ability. Like, it's a Toyota. I'm sure it's perfectly reliable. I'm sure that's why everyone and their mother, knows someone with a TC. But it's just, they're just meh,
Right. It's the modern equivalent of, the EX Civic or whatever. I feel. It's like that really cheap car. Now, from a car enthusiast standpoint, it's that cheap car the high schooler gets, puts on a trunk-mounted wing, and takes the exhaust off. And it making 130 horsepower, but you can hear it from like 3 miles away. And then it drives by and you want to throw up.
I saw this Turbo TC at the mall one time. Thing was just misfiring from hell. Like, just, you could see the intercooler sticking out the front, but it was just running like a pile of shit. And like, I don't know. Remember Ethan went to school with that kid that had a Turbo TC?
Yeah.
He was pushing like 6 pounds of boost.
Yeah, he was at Strats when we went that time, I think.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I think that time Makis brought the Vista Cruiser and out-cornered an SRT4 Neon in the parking lot.
Oh my god.
In the Vista Cruiser.
Yeah, those front-wheel drive turbo cars love to have no turning radius.
Yeah, well, that's something I've noticed. I'm going to move right on to the next one. Driving, I was going to say my girlfriend's Neon, but this is not with the Neon. I think the Neon is a fine automobile. But on the Neon platform, I think.
I don't know if they have the same chassis or not.
Not the PT Cruiser. Chelsea, if you're listening to this, you know this. You know I had to touch on this with this topic. I could not touch on this. My girlfriend's parents love the PT Cruiser. So much, in fact, that they are on their third one. Their most recent one is a GT, but it's still auto, but it is a GT. So
it's the SRT4 PT Cruiser.
Exactly, and I have yet to be in that. But man, do they just look fucking miserable. Like, just abominations of egg-shaped, horrendous, mid-2000s Chrysler garbage. It's just terrible cars. I mean, like, they tried so hard to make them cool. And they were in the beginning, like the Thunderbird, where everyone wanted them because they were neat. And then, like, literally a model year later, people were done. That was it.
Those new Thunderbirds that could have been on the list.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind those, but it's kind of like, you know, they have a 3.9 liter V8 and made like 250 horsepower.
My grandpa had a PT Cruiser back when they first came out. He loved them. He thought they were like the coolest thing.
My aunt also has one that loves it. But I don't get the people who like them really like them.
I drove it a couple times because the tail end of when he had it was right around the time I got my license. I might have had my permit. And I remember the turning radius was awful.
Yes.
It's about all I remember. I mean, it just felt kind of
meh.
Yeah,
boring,
pedestrian.
Nothing.
I would like to drive a turbo one just to see what it's like.
Right.
But, you know, I'm not expecting it to be race car or anything, but it would be interesting to see what it's like. But yeah, I remember my grandpa had a lot of problems with that car. It was in the shop quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
What color was it?
Silver.
Did it have the wood trim?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Yeah, those are getting kind of rare, actually. The wood-trimmed PT Cruiser.
I remember at the Mopar show in Belvedere a few years back, there was a lineup of just like, not kidding, had to have been at least like 15 PT Cruisers just in the middle of the show, lined up.
People looking at them?
I mean, not really. I looked at well, if you had a bunch of, you know,
Hemis and stuff around.
Which one would you be looking at?
Yeah, right.
Those and new Challengers. My God, there are more new Challengers at those shows than you can shake a stick at.
They're always the 5.7 Challenger.
Not always.
Okay, not always. But back when the 392s were just coming out, the amount of... Well, okay, I mean, you know... I don't want to, like, start splitting hairs here with, like, the early 2000s muscle cars, but... Yeah, when the muscle car revival happened in, like, the mid-2000s, those things were everywhere. Like, 05 Donut, like, 3-valve Mustangs, the 5.7 Challengers, and more V6 Camaros than you can shake a stick at.
I thought the Challenger didn't start till 08, and that was the only Challenger you could get in 08 was the SRT8. And then in '09, they started making the other trim levels.
Was it?
Or am I wrong?
Well, I don't actually know, because the Charger came out in '06.
Yep. As did the SRT8, the 300 SRT8, and I think the Magnum SRT8.
But you don't see those anywhere.
I love those Magnum SRT8s.
I haven't seen one of those in years.
You usually see at least a few of those at the Mopar meets. You'll have to come out to Belvedere, go to a Mopar show. I mean, obviously, they didn't have it last summer.
Will they kick me out for pulling up in a Shelby?
They're not going to let you in the show, but I mean, we'll walk around and look at the cars.
But I'll be like, why is it V6 Challenger in there?
Dude, I know. There's a Magnum that is in there, like a SXT Magnum, and it has a badge on the back that looks like the SRT badge, but it says SXT 6, and then the 6 is in the, the red.
Oh my god.
So,
why didn't Dodge ever build a Dart SRT 4? They put goddamn SRT in everything they built. They didn't make an SRT 4 Dart. What the hell's wrong with them? They put that stupid 1.4 liter fucking nothing quarter-sized turbo. I'm getting mad.
Well, speaking of Mopars, another one on the list. I'm going to skip a few entries here. I have the Renegade.
The
and
Jeep
really,
Renegade.
Any new Jeep, in my opinion, any new Jeep, except for the SRT8 and the Trackhawk.
Not even the 392 Wrangler?
That one's pretty cool, too. Wranglers are okay. They're not my favorite, but they're better than the Cherokees and the Renegades, the things that look like shoes.
Oh, yeah, the Cherokee, they ruined that.
It's just like such a shell of its, you take a look at back when they had the 4-liter, your late 90s into the early 2000s. Like, that was the pinnacle of the Cherokee.
That was a pinnacle of, like, off-roady Jeep.
Yeah.
4-liter with the old mechanical 4x4. That, like, you pull the lever and it grinds into 4x4.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the Wranglers had those, too. It wasn't just the Cherokee.
Well, I'd say anything with the 4.0, which was all the Wranglers, the Cherokees.
Pretty much everything Jeep
Cherokee
made back then.
Everything had the 4.0.
Except for some of the, they had the V8.
You can get the 5.9 and the 4.7, I think.
Yep, that's what Sam's old Grand Cherokee had. The 4.7.
Yeah, my dad's Commander had the 4.7, which are becoming rare. The Commanders?
Really?
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of Commanders anymore.
I liked those when they were new.
Commander, dude, it was the nicest car we've ever had. It was like full leather interior, 3 rows, had the sunroof, and then in the back there was 2 like sun shades. It was like 2008 had the full touchscreen, and like this.
And I mean, that's not exactly off-roady, but it's way better looking. At least it was still like boxy.
It was boxy, right?
Doesn't look. I just hate new Cherokees and Renegades. They just look awful to me.
Yeah.
They look like a Caliber.
Right. And, they're like the Renegade is standard front-wheel drive.
Is it actually?
Yeah, I think you might be able to. I don't even know if you can get a 4-wheel drive option. But
and even like, I'm trying to think. No, there's not really much redeeming for me about the Cherokee and the Renegade.
Jeep Renegade 1.3 liter 4-wheel drive. Okay. All right. That's
granted, I'm sure as a daily driver they make fine cars. I'm sure there's people out there that love them. I don't. I would not own one personally.
Yeah, I think it's just the people who want a Jeep and they just don't want to shell out money for the Wrangler or.
Well, and the Trackhawk is what, 90 grand plus?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty wide price difference, but those Trackhawks are badass though.
Okay, so the base model Renegade comes with an 81 cubic inch engine.
No way.
Can't be right. 1.3 liters? Is that 81 cubic inches? That seems small. I've never done the math for an engine that small, so I don't actually know. It could be right. Let's see. The 396 is a 6.5.
A 302 is a 5 liter.
And 81 is a 1.3? I mean, I guess that makes sense.
I don't know. But yeah, not much else to say about those. They're just not.
Yeah. They start at $22,800 for a new car. That's cheap.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Average new car price is like $39,000 or something. It's like 37 or 39. Pretty high. High up there.
All right, so do you want to bring up another one?
Yeah. Let's do one that's not controversial, I don't think. One that we both have. The Mazda RX-8. Trying to follow in the footsteps of the FD RX-7, which it did not do.
No.
At all. You can go first, because I know you have strong opinions on the RX-8.
Well, coming off of the heels of the FD, which, one could argue one of the best JDM cars ever made.
Yeah.
And they follow it with, this thing, which I've heard nothing but horror stories from people that own them. My brother actually has a friend that has an RX-8, and he has also had quite a laundry list of problems with it. They're just, I don't see why anyone would buy one. What are the redeeming qualities of it? Do you buy it just because you want a rotary car for cheap? Like, I don't know why you would buy it.
I think that's it, because they don't get good gas mileage. They don't make a lot of power.
Do they handle all that well?
Because rotaries don't weigh a lot, right? Is that like
right.
redeeming?
And they rev super high.
Yeah, so I guess that might be the redeeming factor. Personally, subjective, I don't think they look that good either.
No.
They're kind of like awkwardly shaped because they have that weird half rear door thing, and it makes like the door sill shape all kind of weird.
There's a reason why most of the ones you'll find in the marketplace are like $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah, they don't even really have that many miles on them because a lot of them don't get to that many miles before.
Well, and then there's all these people that are like, well, rotaries are actually pretty reliable. You just have to do like 5 different things when you're in the process of starting it. Yeah,
right. Like an engine that burns oil from the factory. That sounds... It's not a 2-stroke. Well,
it's pretty similar to a 2-stroke.
Similar, but at that point...
Just put a dirt bike engine in it.
Put a 3-horsepower lawnmower engine in it. Yeah, I don't know. From an enthusiast standpoint, I think the RX-8 was a failure. And from a consumer standpoint, why would you ever buy an RX-8 over literally anything else in its class?
Mm-hmm. I don't see any redeeming qualities about it.
Right.
I mean, I guess, if you're looking for a cheaper rear-wheel drive, sporty car, but it's just,
Can you build the piss out of them? Can you get them to like 500 horsepower?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Seems like building rotary engines in general is quite the process and quite the strain on your wallet.
Yeah, you need a lot of money. You need those Chris Hill sponsors.
Right.
To give you all their parts, and then you don't. Anyway, speaking of that, I'm going to say something else we both have. The R35 GTR, not from the car standpoint, it's a good car, but from the fan base standpoint.
Yeah, calm down, you fanboys. Just slow your roll here for a minute.
Every person who's under the legal driving age is into GTRs, and it has soiled the entire reputation and scene behind the car. People act like that car was God's gift to the automotive world.
And I hate... One small thing that I hate is when people call them Godzilla. It's not Godzilla.
Also Skylines.
Here's a news flash, people. The R35 is not a Skyline. It's not... I don't care. It's not a Skyline. It is not in any way a Skyline. It's not JD... I don't know the proper term to use. It's not, it's not the same chassis as the R32 through the R34 or, the R31, whatever else they called the Skyline.
Oh, the G35 and 37, that's the Skyline.
Right. It's not, yeah, that's the more updated Skyline in Japan.
That's the Skyline in Japan right now is, the 350 GT and 370 GT.
And it's not Godzilla. R33s are not Godzilla. R34s are not Godzilla. The only Godzilla there was the R32. So stop calling your R35s Godzilla and a Skyline, because they are not either one. I know there's going to be a lot of people when we get to this that are going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. And,
It is the Skyline and it is Godzilla because this guy with the 7,000 horsepower one called it Godzilla and his sticker says Godzilla.
Well, and here's the other bone I have to pick with GTRs. I know they're fast. I know they're good running cars, and it seems like they're pretty easy to build. But they're everywhere. They're inundating, watch the Texas 2K videos. GTRs have their own class. I mean, so do Supras, but I'd rather see a Supra, than a GTR.
Yeah, at least the Supra is a driver's car.
Right. The GTR, like anyone with money who doesn't know what they're doing can just go out and buy a GTR.
And give it to AMS and get it back with 1,400 horsepower and then run 220 miles an hour in the whatever.
Right.
And then, it's GTRs and Huracans. Huracans are cool, but that's also a case of if you have a lot of money, I'll just buy a Huracan, throw twin turbos on it, and you'll be good.
But I think you're right. I think it's also the fan base.
Well, that's it for me. Like, they're good cars. I mean, it's a good car, but it's the fan base that ruins it. Similar to, I want to say, Skylines, the old Skylines. I like them and I would own one, but the fan base is like so cringe, and old Supras, like every old JDM car, like RX-7s, although that's more well respected, I feel.
Well, and see, I'm into all those types of cars. I wouldn't necessarily. I think the fanboys of the R35 are definitely worse than the other ones, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's the same thing with like Challengers, and Camaros and stuff, but they just want the V6 ones.
That's the thing, right? I don't even know if there's trim levels with the GTR, because GTR is GTR.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if there's I don't know if the GTR has different trim levels or not, but yeah. I know a lot of people out there that love R35 GTRs. Sorry, I just don't.
Well, Nissan's first problem was calling it an R35, because then people just assume it's a Skyline. But, because it's R30, whatever, Skyline. The GTR was its trim level, not the car.
And I don't even think, I don't really think they look that good either.
In 2010 or 2009, whatever, when they came out, they were pretty good looking, but especially, I mean, it's a Nissan, so of course they haven't touched it in over a decade. By now, I do like the rear ends. I do like the round taillights.
Yeah, that's kind of a throwback to the old school GTR taillight designs.
But yeah, they do look, I don't know. I like the rear ends. They're big cars, though.
Yeah, they are.
They're like 3,800 pounds. And they look big when you're next to them. Maybe not in pictures, but when you're next to one, they're big cars. That's about all I got, I think, for the GTR.
All right. Well, we'll go on to my next one here, stepping away from the supercars a little bit. The Chevy Avalanche. The little half-truck SUV things.
The car that every douche high schooler in every mid-2000s dick high schooler jerk-off movie drove a Avalanche.
And I've hated these cars for years. I hated them back in high school. And ever since I knew what they were actually called, I've been, walking around saying that I hate them. And I do. Why would you not just buy a truck or an SUV?
Yeah, I mean, right. Either buy a Lincoln Blackwood or buy a 2500.
I mean, what are the beds on those things? 3 feet long? What are you going to do with that?
I don't know. And yeah, every Avalanche I see now has rust. Every single one. I haven't seen a clean Avalanche in years.
And I'm trying to figure out, I swear Cadillac made a version of the Avalanche. I can't figure out what it's called.
I think it's just an Escalade.
Is it? Is it just like a
I think it's an Escalade.
type of Escalade?
Yeah, I think it's just a trim level on the Escalade.
I don't know. Anyway, I hate them. I hate how they look. I'm sure since it's a GM, you know, it probably has a 5.3 or whatever. I'm sure they run fine. I'm sure they're fine cars, but I think they look stupid. And if I was going to spend that kind of money, I would much rather put it toward either an SUV or a truck. Because, I mean, look at the trucks you can get nowadays. You can get like the Mega Ultra Cab, where it's like an SUV, and then it has an actual like 6-foot bed on the back.
Dude, yeah, seeing like a single cab short bed new truck is like bizarre because trucks are so big, vertically big. It just looks wrong when you see like a new short bed go by.
And I know when the Avalanche was new, those weren't quite a thing yet, but still, for the type of, I just don't get that car. I don't get that vehicle at all. Next,
let's do. I have 2 electric or hybrid cars on my list. Number 1, I want to talk about. I'm gonna do the Cadillac ELR first. Cadillac's or GM's first. I believe GM's first like mass-produced electric car came out in like around 2010 or so, and it was a lot of money. It was like close to $100,000. And
Doug DeMuro's done a video on that car, yeah?
Yes, he has. And it cost way too much. The range was way too little. It was not better than a normal Cadillac. It didn't ride as good. It didn't handle better, you know, like you would think because the batteries in the bottom. It was just kind of like a commercial failure. And you can get them now for like under 20 grand, like down from almost 100,000 when new.
Ooh,
and
that depreciation.
Yeah, it was just like GM jumping the gun way too quick. Like, because they had like the EV1 or whatever in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. But was that mass produced?
No, and I think and they took them all back and they crushed them all after.
Yeah, that's why they're so hard to find now.
Yeah,
you're right.
The few that come up are very. Someone actually found one in like an alley in Detroit, like just sitting in an alley, just like flat tires and just.
I hope they rescued it
a few weeks ago, actually. So I don't know if it's still there. But yeah, that's just a short little. The ELR Cadillac, I think, was one of the earlier American EV flops. And then similarly, I'm just going to touch on this. The i8, same thing, overpriced. It doesn't perform as well as it could, given the price. It doesn't have a great electric range. Only thing that's going for it is it looks cool, but then every douche on YouTube bought one when they came out, and now I don't even care about how they look. And
see, I still think they look cool. I've seen them around a few times, and I mean, I think they look decent.
Right. They actually canceled them.
Did they?
BMW canceled the i8 because sales were not is what they thought, and they're building an entirely like new line of electric cars that kind of incorporate the things from the i8, but they're putting it in just like a normal sedan, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Somewhat recently. I don't actually know.
I had no clue that they canceled that car.
I'm pretty sure they did. Let's check real quick here. Let's see. Yep, production ended June of last year.
Wow.
So at a six model year run, 20,000 were built. I mean, 20,000 sales in 6 years. Yeah, I mean, it's not fantastic. Especially when they sell however many 3 Series every year.
Mm-hmm.
However thousands of many. Let's see, 0 to 60 in 4.4. Top speed is limited at 155. It can only go 15 miles on full electric. Right. Okay, and then the big thing with the i8 was that now I can't find it. Trying to look up the fuel economy. I don't know how the fuel economy is because, like, look at this. What is that? I'm not gonna. Okay, 27. Okay, I guess it's not terrible. I don't know, but I don't know. The i8 and the Cadillac ELR, I think, kind of go into the same category. Is they're overpriced, didn't perform nearly as well as they could have, and I don't know. They were their first forays into the EV world from two different. Well, the i8's a hybrid, but it's kind of from BMW and GM, their first entry into that world, and they both kind of flopped. What else do you got?
Well, I know this one. Actually, both of my next two picks, which one of them I'll save until you go again, and then this one right here. I know these are both gonna rustle some jimmies. So, next one, I'd have to say the FRS BRZ and Toyota 86, which again, I get it. I'm sure they're reliable. I know they handle. They're slow. And everyone's like, well, they're supposed to be, they're not meant to be fast. They're meant to handle. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, but when they're so slow that, I mean, they can outhandle you, but any straight and anything else is just going to blow their doors off.
I feel like they could have done better. Why did they never sell a turbo BRZ?
Well, guess what? There's a new generation announced. And it's not turbo. It's still not turbo.
Leave it to Subaru to never change anything. Been using the same engine. I don't even know what engine is in the BRZs and whatnot.
Or remember when they came out, they had that torque curve problem? Torque would drop in the middle and then come back up.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, and apparently the new one, it's ironed out, I believe, in the new ones. But yeah, they had a horrible torque curve. I mean, I already wasn't making a lot of torque, but then it would drop like in the middle of the range somehow. Which is bizarre.
But I mean, I've said this since the beginning, and I really don't have anything to change my opinion. It's an overpriced, even more overpriced, glorified 240. Like, just buy a 240.
Yeah, it's the modern. Yeah, right. I'd say it's the modern.
It's like a more dailyable 240.
Right. Yeah. They look nice.
They do. I'll give them that. And I mean,
they're wheel drive.
Yeah, and they're comfortable. I've sat in one before.
Yeah, but they don't have to get up and go that they should. They don't get up and go like they look like they should.
I think I would probably have a different opinion of those cars if they were a little faster.
Yeah, I agree. Like, why isn't there just a top trim turbo option? Like, it's not hard. Like, everyone's putting turbos in everything. People are putting turbos on everything for 40 years. Why doesn't this sports car with a 4-cylinder have a turbo on it? Every 4-cylinder.
I mean, look at the Genesis. I feel like it would be a good competitor for the Genesis if it had a turbo.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure it handles better because it's smaller.
Right. But, yeah, I don't know.
That's the other thing. Like, get a Miata.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, I know the FRS has those, like, it's got little baby seats in the back, but I don't know, man. It's another car that I can't see putting the money toward.
Right. Speaking of not putting the money towards something, new NSX. First off, let's just basic styling. You know, I don't really care much for how it looks. It looks like every generic Grand Theft Auto supercar.
They could have done a much better job, especially when you take a look at how awesome the old NSXs looked.
Yeah, with the mid-engine, the flat bonnet, and then the spoiler.
The way the rear end just sits, you know?
It sits like a 90s supercar, but it was made by Honda, and it was reliable, mid-engine. So it cornered great, made a good amount of power, close to 300, probably over 300 because it's a 276 thing.
The gentleman's agreement.
Right. But then the new one comes out. It's
Is it twin turbo? Or is it NA?
No, let's see, 3.5 V6. mated to twin turbo 3.5.
Okay.
And 3 electric motors.
And it's all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
so you got to give it that.
All-wheel drive. Each make it's 600 horsepower, but what? Okay, it gets 21 mileage city, which is good,
especially for a supercar.
Right, but it gets 22 highway.
Really?
So the electric motors are carrying the grunt of the car in city driving, the stop and go.
Oh, I see.
But on the highway, with a V6, it's getting worse mileage than I get my supercharged 5.4 V8. And it's... Why? If you're going to make it a hybrid, like, I don't know. I feel like they just screwed up the drivetrain kind of in it. Like, okay, 600 horsepower, it's a good number, but...
I feel like it's a little low.
Yeah, why is it 600 with a twin turbo? Like, it's a 3.5 twin turbo. What's the GTR have?
I think that has a 3.8.
3.8? Okay. And that's close to 600 horsepower. Like, why couldn't have Honda just gotten, like... Just do the combustion engine only at that point. Just save some weight. Just make it like the old one. Just do a mid-engine, fucking normal engine car.
Normal engine car.
Don't overcomplicate it if you're gonna, like... The NSX did not live up nowhere near... It didn't have the same impact as the old car, and I don't think it lived up to the hype at all that they set out. Because Nissan, apparently rumblings of a new NSX were constant pretty much after the old one got canceled up until the new one. And then by the time the new one came out, it was just underwhelming.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. But, and, styling aside, I'm sure it drives great. I'm sure it's fast. But just looking at it from the outside and, watching them drive by, seeing them on the street, it's just, I don't know. They don't have the charm of an old NSX at all.
No. Don't look nearly as good.
Right.
I'm about to win a record on eBay.
Ooh. If it would load before the bidding ends.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
There we go.
Man,
1.5 minutes.
I was trying to find DuckTales for NES in the box. And it was bidding like $30, and there was like 5 minutes left. And in the last 5 minutes, it went from 30 to 45, and then the bidding ended. It was at like $94.
The most I'm going to go on this is 40. All right, quick detour here, boys and girls. I'm about to win this record on eBay.
Oh, do you have the auto bid set up?
No, I don't. But I'm going to confirm this bid. Because this is the max, so I'm going to confirm it with a few seconds left just in case.
Is it an auction only, or is it a buy it
It's
now?
auction.
Okay. No best offer.
54 seconds. No.
What record is it?
It is the Poison Greatest Hits Walmart exclusive, which is quite hard to find. I've never seen it in the wild. Those of you that don't know me, I am very, very into the vinyl world. Love how none of my hobbies are cheap, except for Hot Wheels.
Yeah, but not when you come back with 50 Hot Wheels.
Shh. Mike, no one needs to know that.
Dude, I found my old Hot Wheels.
18th. Dude, my hands are sweating.
Well, that's what happens, man. I found my old containers in the basement.
Someone's going to bid on me in the last 3 seconds. I just know it. 8 seconds. Here we go.
All right, do it. Refresh.
Did I get it?
Refresh it.
I got it.
Did you get it?
I think so.
Refresh it. Swipe down.
No, it's loading, homie.
Oh.
Did I get it? Yes!
Nice.
Woo! Look at how loud it got.
Oh, jeez. Sorry, everyone.
That's going to be distorted. Headphone warning. Headphone apology.
Yeah, headphone warning after the fact.
Anyway.
All right, what is your last car?
Last car. Another one that I see plenty of around DeKalb. I'm going to kind of group them both into one. That would be the Nissan 350Z and the Infiniti G35. Never mind the fact that they sound like ass.
Yes.
It's just, it's one of those cars that serves a purpose. It's a car enthusiast's first car. It's like a gateway car.
Yeah. It's like
And like
it's a V6 pony car.
And
Ish.
I guess I get the appeal. I get the appeal of the 350Z more than the G35. I don't think G35s look good. I don't think 350Zs look good, but I think 350Zs look better. It's just, I mean, the sound ruins a lot of it for me. The fact that everyone drives like a douchebag that owns one.
Yeah, they always have, like, do they not make exhaust that's just like a normal, like straight through muffler delete type thing? Why do they always have to have the cans on the exhaust?
Maybe the R35 has a 3.5 liter V6 like the 350Z does. I don't know.
Oh yeah, what do people want to call them, the baby GTRs, when it's not, which it is not. Well, all right. Well, what
That's
about
the Skyline in Japan.
Right.
That's what the Skyline actually is in Japan these days.
Right. Well, what about the 370 and the G37?
G37, nope. 370Z, I don't hate them, but I don't love them either.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I guess that's more of like a fan base dislike and like the way they sound. They don't do anything for me,
Right. Now, right, exactly. Well, we'll have to see about the 400C because
that one I'm pretty excited for.
Reports are coming out. It's a 370Z underneath. It just has a new body and they up the power a bit.
I think the body looks better though.
Oh,
and
it
it's
does.
twin turbo.
Well, yeah, right, which is kind of weird because the 370Z was it's like 320 horsepower, which means the 400Z with twin turbos, if it's
probably be nuts.
Well, that's the thing. If it
or it could be nuts.
Well, that's the thing. If it makes like 400 from the factory, people are going to be making like 600 with a tune with the turbos.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see when it comes out. I do think it looks better. I liked the renders a little bit more. I think I like the front end a little bit more on the renders. I'm still, I don't mind the giant open grille in the front. I don't mind it as much as other people seem to dislike it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for that. I don't know. When I was in high school, yeah, a 370Z probably would have been fun, I think. But that was also 8 years ago.
Right.
Now, when those were probably, still a lot better. I mean, it's a 15-year-old car now.
Well, and like, I get it. They're rear wheel drive and you can get them with a manual. Like I said, they're cheap enough. I understand the appeal of someone who's like just getting into cars wanting one, but I would never spend money on one. And, if anyone tells you that their dream car is a 350Z or a G35, they might need to aim a little bit higher,
Yeah, or just, if you want to get a Nissan, get an old get a Datsun.
Yeah, there you go.
Those look awesome.
Those cars are sick.
I love the look of those. But okay, that it?
And I think that's it for our least favorite cars. Awful spots of the week. Seen anything awful this week?
Yeah, I don't think so. We saw... No, because it's cool. I'm going to say that Chevy we saw yesterday that looked like it was held together by toothpicks and tape, but it's still cool.
The race car?
No, the one that we saw driving by on when we were at Tom and Jerry's. One that I pointed out, and then we couldn't tell what it was. That we think is like an old Caprice.
Oh, yeah.
We heard from
yeah,
the
that
inside.
thing. That's what I was talking about. That thing was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Nothing really garbage. I'm trying to think.
I'm sure I saw some garbage in the city. What about that ad that we saw on Facebook? We saw a couple fantastic ads for some Buicks on Facebook.
Oh, man. Well,
one of them
do you
was...
remember? Yeah, go for that one.
Yeah.
That's 1600 or whatever.
There were two. One was for a Regal GS, like a 2003 Regal GS. Had, like those fake AutoZone vent things all across the front fenders.
Misaligned.
Misaligned. Unequal distance between them. And then in one of the pictures, the passenger door was open. Someone was leaning in there and just like straight ass hanging out.
Yeah.
So that was quite the picture to see on Marketplace. The other one was it was a Park Avenue Ultra. They wanted like $1,800 for it. The left side was just completely destroyed. Like,
oh yeah,
Bondo. I need to see if I can find the ad so I can read what was in it. Please tell me I saved the ad.
Well, let me tell you, I had one spot, and here it is. Semi truck on its side.
Oh,
that was fun because it was right on an off ramp, or on. It was like an on-off ramp from to a highway intersection, whatever, and it was backed up around the entire ramp. So when I got on the highway, it was backed up, like onto my on ramp, going onto the off ramp, and it was a complete clusterfuck. Yeah, that was what I saw.
Oh, she cut the price down, $1,500 now.
When was it listed?
I don't know.
Because we just looked at it last night, and it was more than that.
The driver's side fender, driver's side door, and right by the quarter panel.
Yeah.
Or would that be the quarter panel?
I just call it the back fender.
Back fender. Completely destroyed. Like, looks like it's just bondoed together.
Yeah, it's more Bondo than metal.
So here's the description of the ad.
I'm
going to read it from the beginning. No check engine lights. Oh, yeah. This is all one sentence, by the way. No check engine lights on. Only needs a O2 sensor.
O2 sensor.
Somebody sideswiped the driver's side, so the driver door doesn't open on the outside, but it opens from the inside. Also, the gas tank doesn't open when you push the button. You gotta have somebody push the button and use a screwdriver or something. I open it. To open it. Other than that, it runs. The heat on the passengers doesn't work, but I got the part, just gotta put it on. I drive it to work every day. It starts up and goes when you need it. I'm asking $1,500 or best offer. We should buy it.
And then just like rip the doors off and like jump it, take it through some fields.
I mean, it's the supercharged one.
Oh, that's right. It is.
Let's go up to Wisconsin and buy it.
Is it the cheapest way to get it supercharged?
$1,500. That'd be what, like
offer $1,000,
$650 a person. Yeah, dude,
we just
$500 a person.
Cash from your face. Here you go. Here it is.
It's like those cars that they had on Pimp My Ride that were just like completely destroyed.
Dude, I love when I see a post like a junkyard post will come up, and it's one of those cars just sitting in a junkyard. No, this is a good segment. We should do this. We should try to find like the worst car we can find, like on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh yes,
and then like read the ad.
But we'd have to figure out how to like overlay an image of it into the podcast or something.
Oh, video podcast. This podcast, by the way, is live on YouTube. And if you're listening to this, well, you probably follow us on Facebook, so you already can get the links that way. I'll make a playlist for the podcast on YouTube, so they'll all be in one place. But right now, the first 2 episodes are up, seeing as this is the third. And this one should be up on, I think we're shooting for Thursday early afternoon is when I'm going to be having these go live, I think. It seems to be a good time. Thursday nights were our meet nights in Lot C2.
Yes, they were.
So might as well have the podcast go up then as well.
It just makes sense.
So.
All right. Well, that's a little over an hour. I think this is a good place to wrap it up for this week's edition.
Yeah, good episode. Good cars we dislike. Leave your comments below, please.
Don't hate us. These are just our opinions. If you have one of those cars, well,
prove us wrong in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us why we're wrong. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to the 3rd episode of Lot C2, and we'll catch you next time.